Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host on Educational Exchange, Hani Al-Qadi, welcoming West High School today for the first time this year. I've been waiting for this show for quite some time. I tell you, we have had a lot of schools, but it's difficult to get West High. You're very busy people, I think. So we have today a group of very innovative, creative students and their teacher, Mrs. Peters. And to my left side, I have Javier Miranda Bartlett, who is a senior at West High. And next to him is Elizabeth Shirazi, who is again another senior at West High. And then Mr. Han Lee, who is also graduating this year. And on the far left, our modest and down-to-earth Mrs. Peters, that I tried to put her in the middle, but she selected to be on the extremity there. So, Mrs. Peters, can you tell our audience, look at the camera and tell them about this wonderful show that you are preparing for our audience in Iowa City and Coralville, North Liberty, and Cedar Rapids, and maybe Des Moines and Chicago.
The world.
Almost Maine. So tell us about that.
So our spring production is Almost Maine by John Cariani. This show was first reached New York, and I believe it was about 2006, 2007, had a lot of acclaim, just a very heartwarming, sometimes heart-wrenching play. But what I loved about it, it's 8 different scenes, and so it involves a lot of students, and each of them really gets a time to shine, a real opportunity to have a spotlight just focused on them, and real character development, wonderful characters in this play. But our show is April 13th and 14th, which is a Friday and Saturday, and we have a show April 13th, that Friday night at 7:30, and then Saturday both at 2 o'clock and at 7:30. So that's what we have coming up in the next couple weeks.
So we have to get ready for that.
Yes, we do.
Javier, I would like you to tell me about the theme that you're playing in general in this show. What's it all about?
Well, the whole show sort of revolves around love and different people's experiences with love, falling in love, falling out of love, and in some cases, finding out that somebody fell out of love with you and then falling in love with someone else. And it's very interesting. Each scene is something new with different people. None of us are in the same scene, but I think we all have grown to really enjoy our scenes and the stories they tell.
So it's short scenes, and there is no line that connects all of them together?
They all happen in the same time and place. In Almost Maine, which is the town is named Almost, but it happens at the same time, even though obviously they have to happen consecutively in the play, but they all happen at 9 o'clock at night when the northern lights are appearing in Maine. And so each of them have these transformational moments that are also happening at the same time that that nature itself is transforming.
So tell me about your role there.
Well, my role is I play a girl named Glory, and she is she's come to this town, Almost Maine, to search for, well, she's trying to find forgiveness, basically. She's come to this place to for herself, and what she finds there is she meets another man, and it's just a story about them discovering each other, discovering things that they didn't know about themselves, and just you see her take a journey in this small scene.
Now, this is a kind of deep involvement. I mean, it needs a lot of preparation, because I think you move from one emotion to another, from one passion to another.
Right.
And that's not an easy thing at all, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. There's kind of a surface level, meaning that you see when you first read the play, and then I think every time that I've performed it, I've found something new to take from it, or some different way that you can view this short scene that you've done so many times.
Han, you are going to, this would be your last year at high school, right?
Right.
And Tell me about Mrs. Peters. Her style,
Yes.
her style of direction. I mean, what does she do? Is she controlling? Is she? Does
sitting
she
right
let
next
you do something that's spontaneous or?
Well, Mrs. Peters, I think as a director you need to have control, but I think she exercises the perfect amount of control, and she's able to, I don't know, she's very good at what she does, and I think the shows are always fantastic because of her, and I think as a person and as a director, she's just a very fantastic person.
So I know that some directors are really tough, and they give orders that are very rigid, and you have to be. And some of them would let you, come up with some ideas. And that's what my question was. How much? What's the area that she allows you to move in without telling? Oh, that's over. That's.
I think Mrs. Peters really gives us an opportunity. She gives us guidelines and sets us on the right path, and then lets us explore opportunities and see what we can become, and lets us explore our creative sides. So it's a nice balance of the two.
Of course, your job doesn't involve only the script. It involves the light and the music and all that together. How did you prepare yourself to be the drama director and teacher?
In general terms?
Yeah.
Well, I did professional theater for several years before I came back and decided to teach. I come from a family of teachers, and I knew that at some point that would come back to haunt me. But really, I did some professional theater and realized that I really enjoyed working with young adults a lot, and that not everybody does. And so I put together those two passions, the theater and the teaching. And I love teaching English as well. But I love exploring texts with the characters, and I find character development really interesting. I also worked backstage a lot and had done lighting at the University of Iowa. I did sound stuff. I've done set painting, stage makeup. I was, did a stint doing that for a while too. So I had a lot of areas in dance that I could draw from, and actually this position kind of pulled all those strengths together. But my favorite thing is actually finding the talent in each of those areas and orchestrating them to kind of be the best possible actor or student or, director, designer, whatever that they could be. So that's kind of where I'm.
I heard rumors that you are going to leave this position. Is that true?
Yeah. This is going to be my last show with Theater West.
And how many did you do before that?
I've done, I think it's my 8th show with Theater West, but I've directed 24 plays. And so I'm taking a little break. I'll still be teaching at West and still be doing English. It'll be my first year just teaching. I've always coached something. I also coached speech at West and also at my other school in Maryland. So I'm ready to just really enjoy being in the classroom.
How do you feel about your future, Han?
I'm excited. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of opportunities for me to explore, and I'm looking forward to doing the best I can in whatever I choose to do in the future. So.
Well, you during our short conversation before the show started today, you told me something about your ambitions, about medical career, or?
I plan on attending the University of Iowa and majoring in biology and focus in pre-med and see if I can get a career in medicine. So.
And do you think you still continue doing art?
Yeah, I think so.
You
if I can.
intend to combine both?
Yeah, I think it'll be fun to find the balance between studies and any kind of performing arts I can find. So.
Wonderful. Elizabeth, it's your turn now to tell me about your plans for the future.
Well, I am also planning on going pre-med at Iowa and hopefully then on to med school. But as far as performing arts, I still plan to do some stuff at Iowa as well. I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't really explored, but I think that especially theater and the performing arts and music at West has really helped shape what I want to do, as far as I know that I want to do something creative as another side to the academics as well. And it's helped me with time management, and it's helped me with getting organized and stuff like that. And that's something that I really value and I think is important when you're doing the academic side as well. So I think that's definitely something I want to keep up with.
You don't see any conflict between this and that, right? They are helping
Oh, well,
you.
there's conflict, but you just have to be flexible. That's another thing that I've learned with that is, and just take every day at a time and know that you will be able to do everything, just maybe not on your schedule, and it might take some bending to do.
And you are doing well in your classes in general?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's your turn, sir.
Well, it's kind of funny. On the car ride here, we actually found out that all of us are going into pre-med.
Wow.
I'm going to Iowa State. Huge departure from the rest of us. But I'm sure that I'll be involved in. I don't plan on making theater as big a part of my life when I go to college, because I would like to focus more on academics, because like Elizabeth said, it has taught me a lot about time management. But at the same time, it's just great getting to work with such creative people and people who have such enthusiasm for what they do, that I'm sure I'll end up in an improv group or something like that.
Well, talk to me a little bit about how do you prepare your students for the theater? And the reason I'm asking you this question, because I have had my own experience in this area. And I remember the first mentor that we heard advising us what to do is read a lot. Read plays, and try to memorize lines, and practice those lines. It was not an easy task, but as a matter of fact, when we were young, like 12, 13, 14, it was a good training for memory. So what's your approach to preparing students for performance?
I would say one of the big things is to understand their character. I think we go through our scenes a lot, make sure that we understand even where the character comes from, develop a backstory, which, you know, while we may not make transparent to our audience, we make sure that we understand it, because I think those subtle things come through. I also really just work on practical things like getting them to be kids again, which sounds funny because these are such adult roles, particularly with Almost Maine. But I feel like as people grow older, they forget to play. They forget the sense of imagination and make-believe, and there's something in that, the fostering of imagination. You know, we play theater games, and I know some people are like, well, you know, they're silly, and why do you do that? But it really gets kids to relax, and I think you can pull something more authentic out of them when you let their real childlike nature kind of come out and shine. And so that's something I try to promote and make sure we laugh a lot, because I think, again, that causes us to relax. But we have, especially this show, had some really, like you were noting, deep conversations about relationships and what these people are saying. I think after we've read through it a couple times, we also get into subtext a lot of, and I would say with this show more than even some in the past, almost every line, what are you really saying when you say that, you know, and the complexity of that. And so I think those are some ways I've prepared my students, and I always promise them that if they look silly, that I'll tell them, so that they don't get in front of a larger audience and make fools of themselves, but that they know they can trust me to be honest with them, you know, and I try to be careful with that. Sometimes better than others.
Without giving them the feeling that you know better than them, right?
It's okay if they think I'm a little better.
Yeah, Mr. Cheney always gives me this feeling, you know, that he's much better than me. He was saying to me now that I'm moving a lot, so I need to. But you are a very exciting group, and so now one of the things that come to mind here is how do you get support? Now, number one, I would like to hear from the three of you, how does each one of you, how does your family support you? do you find them sometimes say, why don't you just do math club or go to calculus or whatever? Why do you use your time late hours? And I want to hear your take on that.
Well, my parents are very open-minded and they support everything I do. So any endeavor I make in theater, they've always trusted that I would manage my time well and that I would do what's best for me, and they always support my actions. So.
By the way, I just want to say that, as you probably hear, there is a lot of noise in the studio here because there's a play going on upstairs. So I think the people there probably they felt that you are performers and you are stage people, so they are giving you the ambience, right? I think so. So
Making us at home.
yeah, it feels like home. Huh? Yeah. How about you, Elizabeth?
Well, I think at first my parents were a little skeptical. You know, my freshman year, they didn't want me to do too many things, so I couldn't do well in my studies. But I think especially after they saw me in my first musical that I did at the first time I performed, and they saw how proud I was of myself and how proud I was of this group that I was a part of and this thing that we were doing together, that they really started realizing that this was something that I really loved to do, and it wasn't bad to be at the school every night until 9 if you were so proud of what you had just accomplished. And I think that they also saw that it helped me with my organization and that I actually worked better when I had more things on my plate. And each show they've just seen me get prouder and prouder of what I've been able to accomplish. And so I think they really support that side of me, and they understand that I really do love it.
Javier.
Like Han said, my parents are pretty open about it. They're pretty cool about it. They sometimes they do remind me that even though it's the week where we have to be there every night until 9, I still need to get my projects done for all my classes.
Right.
But at the same time, like Elizabeth said, my parents have seen how proud I am to be a part of such an amazing group and how proud I am of all the things that I've been driven to accomplish through theater. And they know that a lot of my close friends I've made through theater, and that the sort of people that I'm working with are people who are driven individuals who have learned how to manage their time well and how to be respectful of others, and we all get along great, and my parents really like that I'm a part of it.
Well, there is no doubt, back to what Elizabeth was saying about being part of a group and understanding and collaborating. And you see, myself, I'm telling you about myself. You know, my father was very much against me getting into art, you know. And, well, I was raised in the Middle East, you know, Turkey and Egypt and all these areas. And people there don't really need art, you know what I mean? They need food and they need schools, hospitals. So he was like, yeah, art doesn't really feed people, huh? But I tell you what, I became a surgeon, and now I went through the whole circle back to art. And now I'm doing art every single day. I'm teaching art and doing art for the newspaper, doing art here. So it is overwhelming sometimes. Sometimes it is good for the parents, and I'm talking to our audience here. If your kid is really interested in art, let them do that, because that helps their science. It helps them think, and think critically, and problem solve, and all that. As well as, of course, the development of the character that you were talking about. You know, when you said, well, when my parents saw me so proud, they supported me, and that's very important. And now we are going back to classroom. From the limelight and the spotlights, you are going to your own little domain teaching. Do you think that you will feel claustrophobic a little bit?
I'm a pretty high energy person. I will find things to do. I imagine. I think it'll be, I think I just need a break for a little bit. I don't imagine that it's the end of my drama career.
Yeah.
I think it's a reprieve for a little bit. But I wanted to add just what you said about the way that it changes thinking. I have actually, even in college, there were a lot of pre-med majors in the theater department, and I think there's a lot of things that theater teach you in terms of the creativity of thinking outside the box and developing things, and I think it's a really nice balance to see, you know, the artistic and the scientific side and for students to get to experience that.
There are really pioneers now in the medical career, and you will see this when you go to medical school, that design humanism course in medical schools, and you have to take it. I mean, it's not a choice in Stanford and in the East Coast too. You have to take this humanitarian course, whether it's anthropology or social anthropology or sociology or just reading poetry. And they think that this can make a good doctor, which I support this notion so enthusiastically. Yes, it does, because it makes you more human, and it makes you look more humanitarian. That's this show will be aired on YouTube, and that's good to know, because some people, some of our audience have cable, and the other don't have cable. So now YouTube shows the entirety of the show, not just 5 or 10 minutes. And you can see this in a couple of days, and maybe tomorrow evening. And we have bliptv.tv. They show this show too. Of course, Public Access TV will show it twice at least, on Monday at 7:00 p.m., as well as Saturday at 2:30 p.m. And we have tremendous support from Public Access TV. Although this show belongs more to the education department, to the Iowa City Community School District. It was developed by John Karoff many years ago, and Mike Peterson, who are not with us tonight because of some circumstances that they are going to be meeting and coming back to us soon. But thanks to this wonderful group that we are working with, Josh Gooding, our director and producer, and the manager of Public Access TV here is with us all the time. We have, of course, Mr. Cheney. You can see him showing me the minutes that remained. He's on camera. And we have Emily Ashenfelter, who has been doing our show and producing it instead of, or in place of John Karoff. So you will have, and your parents will have a chance to see that. And now it's time for final words to our audience. What would you like to tell them? And how would you like to say goodbye to them?
I would like to say goodbye for now, and we'll see you when you come to the show. And tickets are $9 for adults, $7 for students and seniors, and $4 for Iowa City Community School District employees.
Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. It's okay.
Yeah, I would just like to say, come see our show, because for a lot of us, well, for all of us, this is our last show, and most of us have been in Theater West since freshman, sophomore year, and so this is our last hurrah, if you will, and so we're making it the best that we can, so come see it.
Yeah, goodbye. I'd also say come see our show. We put a lot of effort into it, and I know everyone has really done their best to make it the best production we can, and we know we're going to put on a great show for everyone, so I think it's going to be worth coming to see. So.
Yeah, we do great stuff at Theater West. We're really proud of our work. I'm really proud of our kids, both on stage and off stage, and I think you will be glad they came to see the show. It's because of kind of the mature themes of relationships. It's probably more geared towards high school students and older, maybe middle school students, but just keeping that in mind, it's probably not the best show for little kids. But if you've seen any of our other stuff, you know that we do great stuff at West, and we'd love to have you.
Well, on behalf of everyone here, and I forgot to mention Mr. John Howard, who is on the camera tonight with us. I would like to thank you very much and welcome you to come back. But now, as far as you're not going to be coming now to tell us about the play anymore, right?
I'll send someone else for you.
You will send someone else.
I'll send someone else.
What I really missed in this show, and I have 1 minute more, and I would like you to tell me. I felt when I talked to Dr. Arganbright and Molly Abraham, they are really supportive of your program, very much. And they wanted us to show this show because they were supposed to be my guests. And they said, no, we would like our kids who are doing this play to come tonight. So it gives you an idea of how supportive they are.
Yes.
So you have this support from the administration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes Dr. Arganbright makes jokes about, you know, he steps out of the way so we can do our thing, you know, but really you know, we kind of give him the framework of what we're doing and give him the scope, so he always, you know, has a hand in it, but he's really just extraordinarily supportive, and they always have been, and if we run into problems, they're right there to support us, and we always have what we need. And because we have such great Iowa City support, you know, we have the funding that we need as well.
From the community too?
Yes, wonderful audiences. We sell out shows every time we do a play, so, or a musical, yeah.
Do you think that our audience will have like a DVD or tape they can buy at the end of the show or not?
We can't because of copyright laws. It's part of our contract with the play that we produce.
But are you producing it for public access TV or for the education channel?
I should find out. I don't know if that violates my contract or not, so we'd have to check into it.
Because I know that the music, the band, and they have the whole show on our screen. Maybe you can do that, and people who miss it. Thank you very much, and I have been given the signal to wrap it up. Is that wrap it up? Yes, and I say good night to everyone, and thank you, Mrs. Peters. Thank you, Han. Thank you, Elizabeth and Javier. It has been a delight having West High with us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.